There are so many interesting, horrifying, or downright weird things in this big world of ours.
Each week, we'll bring you a new true crime story that has little to no coverage in English.
Let us do the translations so you don't have to.
I am Petra.
I'm Victoria.
And I'm Laura. And judging by the order that we pronounced our names in, or not pronounced, well, the order that we announced our names maybe is the correct word, dear God, that I am going this week to tell a story. So, yeah. And
Yeah, and you have a
this
kind of
week-
an old story this week, right?
Yeah, I do. It's a bit over 100 years old, so yeah, it's not very recent history. I mean, there was like recent headlines because, 100th anniversary, was about 6 years ago. So
Mm-hmm.
there were some Finnish newspapers about the anniversary of it. So yeah, so some recent stuff recently. But yeah. So I stumbled upon this case when I was in Tallinn, Estonia. And for those people who don't really know where Estonia is, which I don't know, not trying to, okay, maybe I won't be that mean, but lots of Americans don't know where Estonia is, but it's across the Baltic Sea from Finland. And usually you can take a ferry, which takes about 2 hours to get to. And it's quite common for people from Finland to go there to buy cheaper alcohol or what, haircuts? Is that no? Yeah, is that what are the other things that people buy, Petra?
Oh, I actually know that some people take their like cats or dogs there to the vet because it's cheaper.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I don't know if it's worth it though, because I don't know. It's the whole
Yeah.
stress
Yeah.
of traveling and everything. But I heard that that's a kind of a
I
common
mean, I
thing
guess
as
if
well.
it's like an expensive surgery or something, then it might make sense. But
Yeah.
yeah. Or like if I had like
Yeah.
a pack of 5 dogs, I'd probably take them all to get their teeth cleaned there because it's ridiculously expensive. Otherwise, I'd spend
Yeah,
like
true.
2,500 euros or something.
Yeah.
What about the laser eye surgery? You
Yeah,
Oh
that's,
just
yeah,
that's
told me
also
yesterday that
yeah.
that's another thing.
yeah, that's true too. Yeah,
And
like
also
we
other
know
like
someone.
plastic surgeon, and that's kind of like
Yeah.
medical operations that are not covered by the public healthcare and are kind
Yeah,
of like
and also people.
extra in your life.
Yeah, like these also cosmetic surgeries too, not like necessarily plastic surgery, like full on, but these kind of, skin things that people do, like the minor cosmetic surgeries and stuff too, is quite common, I think, to go there for, and spas and whatnot. So, yeah.
Yeah. Plus, we go
Um,
there for that vegan chocolate shop in the old town.
yeah. Yeah, and Depeche Mode bar.
Okay. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, true.
But yeah,
It's
Estonia is
lots
a
of
good
fun.
time. They have. Yeah, like the old town is great. Like I would suggest if anybody's in this neck of the woods, just, pop over there for a day or two or something, because I mean accommodation's quite cheap and food is cheaper, and I know the Restaurant V is really good for vegan dinner or lunch or whatever. So yeah. But yeah.
It was not a paid advertisement.
Yes, this was definitely not, but I mean, of course, if the city of Tallinn wants to pay us for this advertisement, go ahead. So yeah, I stumbled across this case because I was, in Tallinn with my cousin. I was thinking about doing a German case because I was in Germany right before that in Berlin, and I was like doing some research, and I was even gonna like take some pictures of some houses where the crime was committed, but then I was like, maybe I'll do something a bit lighter, and something that's not a cold case because I didn't want to bring a cold case after this huge break, and I didn't know how well fucked up Petra's case was going to be or not. So I was like, okay, this is a bit easy, and I like the history, and so I kind of got what I wanted at least out of when I was researching this. So, but yeah, I think I saw this on like a like one of these information, not like a plaque, but I think it was like some information poster thing on a tram. I'm trying to remember, like when I was leaving Kadriorg Park, I took a tram from there to like the center, and then I think there was like some information about this guy that I'm going to be discussing. And when I was reading about his life and the suspicious manner of his death, I was like, okay, this sounds definitely like a true crime podcast topic. So yeah, so I'll be telling you, or do you guys know anything about Jüri Vilms? Does the
No,
name
and
sound
it's very
familiar?
difficult for me to imagine why this was on a tram.
Mm. I'm trying to remember if it was a tram, but I just remember like something where I saw some information. It was like, one of these information posters or whatever,
Yeah.
and I'm
Or
like,
was it
where
like
the
a
fuck did I see this?
museum, like advertisement or an exhibition or something like that?
No, it wasn't like that either. It was like some maybe area that he was around or whatever, or I'm trying to remember the issue. Or some, yeah, anyway, I guess it's not that important, but there was some
Mm.
informational thing in English, and I was like, oh, okay. Or was it in Finnish? I don't remember. Anyway,
But have you heard
so
about
yeah,
this guy, Petra?
So what was his name?
Jüri Vilms, and it's
Vilm.
J
Yuri. Like
U
Yuri.
with a yeah, Jüri, like with
So
the U with
Yuri.
the
Yeah, yeah.
umlauts over, yeah, and
Yeah.
then Vilms,
Oh.
Vilms, yeah.
No, I
And
don't think
I
so.
have some, if you wanted to go into Drive, there's some photos of him that I uploaded already. So yeah. And for those people following, then it's J U with an umlauts R I, and then his last name is Vilms, Vilms. So yeah, I assumed not, because I thought this was going to be a pretty niche case. Not saying that you guys don't know Estonian history or anything, but like this is quite a tumultuous time in Finnish history, and like because I mean this takes place in Finland mostly, most of the story, and also like in the early 1900s. Of course, there's a lot going on because I mean the Finnish Civil War and that type of stuff, and like all the upheaval in Russia with the Bolsheviks, and in Estonia, well, also with the Bolsheviks too. And so, yeah, we'll get more into
Mhm.
the history, but yeah, so it's kind of easy to overlook these kind of stories of these people, even though that they are important in historical standpoints. But yeah, I need to breathe more when I'm talking. It's always like, okay. So yes, Jüri was born in Orkma, Estonia on March 13th, 1889. And when becoming of age, he went to the Pärnu Gymnasium, and due to his high grade point average, he was able to get his tuition paid for. And later he studied law at the University of Tartu from 1907 to 1911. And here he kind of got a small taste of political life when he was elected as the chairman of the Estonian Student Association. So, at the age of 22 in 1911, he began to practice law as an associate, and eventually he opened up his own law firm. After the start of the World War I, officially starting on July 28th, 1914, Jüri became involved in the Estonian national movement, which like national movement, at least in those times, because Estonia was under rule of the Russian Empire. So this movement was basically wanting autonomy for Estonia. And he published articles on the matter, and he eventually even started his own political party in 1917. This party was the Estonian Labour Party. And this party was the result of the merger between the Radical Socialist Party and the Social Trust Party, all of which were kind of like commonly known as the Laborites. And after the Russian February Revolution, Jüri ended up becoming a full-time politician. So he kind of dropped the Lawyer Act and then was like, politics is my calling. So yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
It's pretty common for
yeah.
politicians to have a law
But
background.
just like
Yeah.
you say February 1918,
Seven,
1917.
17. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Political.
before the independence thing.
Yeah. So this is
Sorry,
like right around finish.
spoilers.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, like at least we'll go also into the Finnish independence as well a
Yeah,
little
but I
bit
mean the
too.
Estonian, if I remember correctly, they got the
And
independence like year after, like February 1918, like year after the
yeah,
Russian Revolution started.
yeah. Well, yeah. Yes. Well, yeah.
I don't
Kind
know.
of.
Does it
Well,
play
you'll see.
part in this story?
A little bit, yeah. A little bit, yeah. So, yeah. Thanks for the spoiler, Petra. No, you didn't spoil anything. No, that's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, this part of history is like fucking fascinating, like because just the Russian history and like all of these countries, had like Russian influence, and then breaking away from that, and then the Germans had an influence, and it's just so many different countries were kind of like, up each other's buttholes, basically, just really in each other's business and trying to control everything. So it's quite interesting.
Others were licking, others were kicking.
Yes. Oh, that's a very good way to put it. That was good. That was good, Petra. I liked that. Damn.
With the
Yes.
butthole allegory.
Yeah, I think we need to like make a t-shirt out of that. Some were licking, others were kicking. Independence, 1918. Or established
Finally,
19.
we have a new thing to put on a T-shirt other than just no dick pics.
But
We
we're
have
staying in the
very
same
like
area.
like anatomy, kind of dirty anatomy, like type of t-shirts, themes going on. Yeah.
Maybe we should just keep stay in the murders.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, let's not start our own brand of t-shirts. Okay. So yeah, like I said, after the February Revolution, Jüri ended up becoming a full-time politician, and you might be asking yourself, what is the February Revolution, right? Isn't that the natural question that you're asking each other, guys? Like, what is this, right? So I don't know how familiar you are with Russian history, but this took place in modern-day St. Petersburg, or then it was called Petrograd, and this took place in 1917. So this is a super duper abridged version. So like there's so much history with this. It's kind of insane, but I just found like the Sparks notes, or the, like I said, abridged version of this. So basically everybody was tired, of the monarchy, right? In Russia. And due to food rations, like food shortages, the food rations, protests broke out, and political social upheaval started. So there were also feelings of discontent from being in World War One, which made the social and economic problems Russia faced even greater. So they could really feel the hurt because everything was stretched even thinner since they were in the war. In the end, this led to the end of the Romanov Empire and the monarchy in Russia, and then eventually the discontent eventually led to the October Revolution and the start of the Russian Civil War, which would eventually lead to the Soviet Union. So that's kind of like the background. So quite tumultuous time in Russian history. I mean, everybody knows the Romanov Empire, like the Anastasia, stuff, and his, everybody knows the stories of the Romanov Empire, or like the Romanovs, right? I think you guys are familiar with the Romanovs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, during this time, the laborists that Jüri was part of received 21% of the election votes in Estonia in the free multi-party elections for the provincial assembly. Though on the 28th of November, 1917, Maapäev, or the provincial assembly, refused to recognize the attempted Bolshevik coup d'etat, and it basically wanted to proclaim itself as the only legally elected authority in Estonia. But soon this movement was kind of overshadowed by the Bolsheviks, and it was driven underground. So basically, just to kind of put that in other words, you have the laborists and Jüri's party. They're like, free Estonia, we should be on our own, like fuck the Russians, basically. and we don't want to deal with any of the Bolsheviks or, Lenin's party, basically. We want to, be on our own, and we just want to, now that you guys have your revolution, we should also be free of the empire too. So get the fuck out, basically. But of course, that it's not easy to, cut ties with a country that you're like bordering with and have had lots of history with. So yeah, that's a bit more of the history. Any questions at this point?
No, I just started thinking that okay, I'm starting to see why he was maybe on some poster on a tram or something. I just couldn't place what kind of person are we going to talk about in this episode. But like now, obviously, there's like a very strong like historical significance. So yeah.
Oh yeah, it even gets a bit more significant too, because the position he assumes in politics is quite major. So yeah. Yeah. So going back to Jüri, like I said, after this tumultuous time in Russian history, he became a full-time politician, and he became part of the Estonian Salvation Committee, which was the executive body of the Estonian Provincial Assembly that issued the Estonian Declaration of Independence. So these people were in charge of making the Declaration of Independence and being like, yeah, see, we have our declaration, consider us free, bitches. And Jüri was referred to as an advocate, of the Estonian people by, there's this guy, Alexander Löring, who heavily researched Jüri's life, and he, refers to him as like key member, basically, along with this Heinrich Koppel, Otto Strandman, and Jan Ramot. And they all compiled like the legal preparations for Estonia to be autonomous. So, it came in handy that Jüri was also had a background in law too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so they were vying. They had the legal rights, everything prepared. They had their Declaration of Independence, but Germany didn't recognize Estonia as an independent nation. And even though Estonia declared their independence on February 24th, 1918, the Germans occupied Tallinn on February 25th. So a day later, 1 day later, and stopped the efforts of Estonia independence in its tracks. So that's why I was kind of like, yeah, technically they did, declare independence, Petra, but the Germans weren't having any of it. So, yeah, like it's a bit even more shitty, I think, then, yeah.
Yeah, I think Finland kind of was luckier. We were just like, hey, we're now independent, and Lenin was like,
Yeah.
right, I'm busy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much, yeah.
But I think Estonia still celebrates their Independence Day on that day.
Yeah, that's what I wanted
Yeah.
to ask. That what do Estonians consider their Independence Day or date of independence?
I think
currently?
it's this day.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
It
think
is,
it's
it
this day.
is. Because
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
have the same things that as
Yeah.
us. Funny president dance with the president thing.
Oh, the handshaking thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
yeah, if no one's ever seen the presidential or the Linna Juhlat, that's hilarious to watch if you're like never seen it before. Yeah. Anyway, it's kind of like the Oscars, the Grammys, or something like red carpet thing where you just watch and judge people's dresses and stuff the whole night in a procession for a couple hours. But anyway. Yes.
I've never
So
watched it for more than a few minutes. I only just see
I've
the news
watched
articles about it the next
Yeah,
day.
I've watched it a few times, but it's usually when there's a party and there's food and drinks, and so it's like a bit, it's not just that, Otherwise I
Mm-hmm.
think it'd be a bit monotonous to watch alone.
My mom
But
always
yeah.
made me watch it, so
Yeah.
Oh, so you're
and
scarred for
judge
life,
people
or
together. She's like, let's watch this, and then we're watching it. Oh, that's a funny dress. Huh? What is that color about?
Yeah. Yeah, so as of February 25th, the Germans, they stopped the efforts of the Estonian independence in its tracks, or they tried to. And the Salvation Committee then went underground. But then Jüri volunteered to go to Finland to hand over funds and give some instructions to the Estonian missions there. And basically, I think the original plan was for him to and his compatriots to go to Finland and then go to Sweden or something to try to get some help from, from its neighbors, basically. And so, yeah, so they wanted
But
to kind of.
was he
Hmm?
aware of the fact that Finland was having a civil war at this point? Like, hi
I want to
guys,
say
I
yes.
see that you're fighting, but can you give me some money?
Yeah, I think he was like planning to go to Finland, but then only just like kind of go up through Vasa and then go to Sweden basically from there. I think that was the original plan. At least that's where I found it on one source. But then, yeah, bad kind of idea. Because I mean, of course, there's lots of boats and German boats and stuff within the Baltic Sea, so it's kind of going to be difficult anyway to get to Finland from Estonia. And the land on that side is probably also controlled by either Russians or Germans, so both sides are kind of bad for the Estonians. But yeah, so yeah, kind of a bad time to travel to up north, I would say. Yeah. But at the time of heading to Finland, he was the deputy prime minister of Estonia. So that's also why, he is a kind of important figure too, and why his death was also like a major issue because, deputy prime minister is a major thing. And for him to go missing or dead or whatever was like, what the fuck, right? Oh yeah, and yeah, but I do have a fun fact that before it gets whatever. So fun fact, Finland was the first country to recognize Estonia de jure, or the legal and irrevocable recognition of another state. So like, Estonia and Finland, like we got you, homies. Like you guys got
Yeah.
independence, Yeah.
We're like, no, we got it. Now we're going to use it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, now we're going to get into the death of Jüri, and it's basically debated, heavily debated in historical terms. And of course, this happened, what, 106 years ago? Like a little over 106 years ago. Yeah. So, theory number one, which might technically be the same as theory number two that I'll say, but during the Finnish Civil War, there were mainly two factions. Okay, I'm just going to go into a bit of a history, and of course Petra can chime in if she has anything to add because this period of Finland is fascinating, but I don't have I have the basic knowledge of this too. So during the Finnish Civil War, there was basically two factions. So excluding volunteers from other countries that were vying for the control of Finland. So you had the quote unquote whites, which were the anti-socialist group who wanted independence for Finland. And then you have the Reds, which are the party that were pro-Soviet Russia, and they kind of got support from Russia. Anything to add, Petra?
Well, that
Just
the
whites and Reds.
whites got support from Germany, and this
Yeah. Oh yeah, true. Yes.
It's very interesting that Germany was like, we don't want Baltic states to have independency, but for Finland, yeah, sure, we will help. So
Yeah.
for them to become a monarchy. So the whites didn't originally aim for democracy, but monarchy in Finland.
Yeah.
That's the addition of the whites.
Yeah.
About the whites.
Yes, thank you. Yes, about the whites, yeah. But yeah, you'll hear lots of stuff. Whites, reds, blah, 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 blah. And it's easy to remember because reds and communism and whatever. Yeah, the colors go together. So yeah, so during this time, it was extremely violent. And on April 12th, 1918, so remember the 24th of February is when they declared their independence, Estonia did. And then only like basically a couple weeks later, between April 12th and February 24th, you had Jüri and some of his compatriots go to Finland basically on their way to Sweden, if I remember correctly. And on April 12th, the Haga executions took place. So have you heard of the Haga executions, which took place in Helsinki, like the Haga
Haga
neighborhood?
part of
Actually,
Helsinki.
yeah.
Oh,
Have you heard of
no.
it? Or apparently it took place like near the current Pohjois-Haga railway station. So there's even like a okay. Anyway, well, I'll go into
Oh,
that.
Yeah, I mean, there was lots
So
of that kind of stuff
yeah,
happening around Finland.
yeah.
I
I
don't
mean,
know if
like
I know
some of
about it. I'm just okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. 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 Just summarize it. It's fine. I started googling if it's what I think it is, but it might not be. So go ahead.
yeah. I mean, in this time, there's like a lot of executions taking place where they just round up, suspected, you know, reds or whatever, or on the other side, whites. And then they basically just execute people in the streets and then dead bodies everywhere, whatever. So it was quite like almost like the American Civil War where you might have like brothers killing each other or, this type of thing because families don't necessarily need
Hmm.
to be all whites or all reds. It's like intermixed. It just depends on, your philosophical and I guess, yeah, well, philosophical beliefs, I guess, and what you believe the country should do in the future. So, yeah, it was quite, everybody was pitted against each other, basically. So, 45 people were to be executed by Russian soldiers during this execution, and they were suspected of being Red Guards. And 28 of the 45 people were buried in a mass grave in Pohjois-Haga. And like I said, this is near the Pohjois-Haga railway station. And this was only 28 out of the 45 was because families were allowed to claim the bodies of their family members. So yeah, basically the 17 members were identified and, taken by their families to be buried
Hmm.
elsewhere, which is also kind of fucked up if you think about it. Like, that your loved one is going to be executed and then you just have to wait until the execution and then just go claim the body.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's 28 people that were unidentified, and therefore they went to the mass grave there. And out of the whole 45 people that were executed, 20 of the victims are still unknown. So, of course, 20 of the 28 who weren't claimed by their families are still kind of like unknown. So we know
Hmm.
8 of those people that were in the mass grave, but 20 of them are still like unknown people. And in December of 1920, the mass grave was exhumed, and so this is a couple of years after this this massacre. And some Estonians that were present thought they identified the body of Jüri Vilms because apparently Jüri and his compatriots had been at the Suursaari or Hogland, about 180 kilometers west of St. Petersburg, where they were captured by German soldiers. And they were then brought to Helsinki on the ship, the Regina, and shot at the Töölö sugar factory, and then buried in the North Haga mass grave. So that's like this one story that happened. So, they were taken kind of near St. Petersburg by the Germans, brought to Helsinki, shot, buried in the mass grave.
But
And
wait, who says this or who has this theory? Someone like some eyewitnesses.
so basically they kind of pieced it together. Like some Estonians were like, well, we'll get into that a little bit, but yeah, okay. We'll get into that after this actually. It kind of
Okay.
messes up the flow of the story. But yeah, it's just said that this has happened, like based off of
Hmm.
some
Okay. Okay.
facts and whatever. And this is why this is one of the theories of why or what happened to him. Because there's, a couple. So yeah, Jüri, apparently Jüri was a considerable, like he was really, really tall for this age or like this era of time. And
Mhm.
so those Estonian people who saw the grave, they're like, dude, that guy's tall. That must be Jüri. Like, when they opened
Yeah.
up the grave 2 years later,
Mhm.
they're like, shit, this guy is super tall. That has to be Jüri. Like, I don't know any other Estonian guy who's that tall, so it must be him, right?
And they just
And
decided it's an Estonian guy in the
yeah,
Finnish
yeah.
grave.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, I guess there might have been like lots of Estonians because I think there were some groups that were also trying to help Finland get either well, it kind of depends like if they were fighting for the Russians or not, but I don't think they were.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
but I would
so
say
I think
that
there were
you
some.
can't make the difference between a Finnish and Estonian body.
Oh, that's what you meant.
I
Yeah,
mean,
definitely not. Yeah,
yeah,
it's not carved into our
mostly not.
bones or anything like that.
Yeah. Usually you can't even tell the difference from the living person's face.
Yeah,
I mean,
very
lots
true.
of Estonians and Finns look really similar.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, historically and like genetically, I guess pretty
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, we can go into that too. But yeah, so 4 bodies were transported and buried at in Viljandi County in Estonia. So this was supposed to be Jüri and his compatriots that were basically repatriated back to Estonia, or so they thought. But to make matters a bit more complicated, apparently the Regina had never been to Suursaari or anywhere but Helsinki during 1918. So it's like the story that they were picked up in Suursaari and then brought to Helsinki, shot in the Töölö sugar factory and then buried in Haga. Outlandish, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, so it's a bit it's questionable because then yeah, a bit questionable. And in the 2000s, there were suggestions that this case could be solved, with the help of DNA, because of course they could track down some of his descendants, test the bones or
Yeah.
whatever, some DNA stuff. But according to the Finnish foreign minister Erkki Tuomioja, he said that it would have been in bad taste to do so. Because basically he was saying that, like, okay, well, if he was killed on Finnish soil and whatnot, if it actually was this, it's kind of better not to know in that regard, because then Finland could be, blamed a bit in this. So they just haven't done it. Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
isn't it quite out of his jurisdiction
Yeah.
because if he's buried in Estonia, it's
Yeah, I was
about
just also
Estonian law
wondering.
more of it.
So yeah, maybe something, for instance, like in Finland could have been tested, or maybe they could have tested some more of the bodies that were in the grave site. Maybe that's what they meant, like to see, okay, were there anybody in his group that was there in the grave, and therefore he probably was in the grave. Like, so just piecing stuff
Yeah.
together, if
Mhm.
anybody was in the grave, because only 4 of those
Yeah.
people were repatriated back to Estonia. So then in 2008, a document surfaced in the military archives of Sweden that stated that Jüri was executed in May of 1918 in Hauho. So there's a couple theories. But then we'll go on to the second official theory, which is a bit similar to the first one. Instead of by boat, though, it was saying that he was intercepted on the Finnish coast and was executed in Helsinki by German troops, and he was executed in Töölö, just like the first theory. He was buried in
Mhm.
the mass grave with Red Guards led by a part of the Social Democratic Party, who were of course backed by Russia. And there was even a plaque on a red brick building near the National Opera in Helsinki that stated, I should say, here in the yard of the sugar factory, Jüri Vilms, the Deputy Prime Minister of the Republic of Estonia, fell. And yeah, one interesting fact about this is that his body has never been found, and this theory of his death is long believed to be false. So in fact, in 2015, so 7 years, in 2015, a new plaque was put up, and it didn't name Jüri Vilms at all on this newer plaque. So it's all questionable. So I'll go into like then the last theory is kind of a bit silly, I think, or maybe not. I don't know. The third theory is that Jüri and his compatriots fell into the ice and drowned in the Gulf of Finland before they ever reached Finland. So that one's a bit like
Mm-hmm.
lackluster theory, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I mean, that would be a bit hard to prove, or like,
Exactly.
or
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And I would want to think that they had a better, better sense. It's not like they're coming from a country who doesn't have frozen lakes and ice in the winter time and stuff like that. So anyway,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
and
I mean,
February is
maybe
still
it's more like that.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, sorry.
Oh yeah, you go. You. Yeah.
Oh yeah, what did I want to say?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Wait, no, I forgot. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so I was just gonna say, I mean, April, like early April, maybe we shouldn't use this April as a marker, but
Oh yeah,
generally
true.
speaking, it's quite a bit warmer in April. Not super warm, but I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it could be that the ice could have been thin on those areas, and it could have been hazardous to cross if indeed they crossed on foot. But yeah, so
Because they would have been crossing from Vasa, right?
So I guess they would have maybe gone like along like Estonia and then kind of like near like the land border and then kind of like near on the ice, so not crossing into like Russian territory per se. As far as I understood, like I mean, like looking at the map or whatever, it's like you can kind of get to St. Petersburg a bit, like
Ah,
of
wait.
course
Okay, yeah,
by
yeah. No, I was thinking about that they were going to like Sweden, and then they went to Vasa first when they. So
uh
wait, am I confusing
yeah.
the timeline now?
No, so I think the original plan was that either they were going to, I think they were going to go by ice or something like that to get to Finland and then cross the land like from Helsinki and then go like, Turku and Vasa and then go from Vasa
Mm-hmm.
to Sweden. I think that was the
That might
plan.
be kind of like maritime thing because from Estonia to
Mm.
Finland it's quite short, like
Mm-hmm.
a
Yeah,
relatively
yeah,
easy trip. But if you would take the boat from Estonia to Sweden, that's already quite a long way and like open
yeah,
sea. But from
yeah,
if you go to Vasa, that's a very short distance that
yeah.
you have to
Yeah,
sail
because there's
from
even a
Vasa to
Yeah,
ferry.
Sweden.
There's
So
even
yeah.
a
maybe that's what
ferry
they
there
thought.
nowadays. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, like it's questionable. Like I couldn't find like how they got or how they were getting to Finland. Because I think also it would have been difficult to get any boats during that time because of course there's German presence, there's Russian presence in the
Mm-hmm.
area in the Baltic Sea, and yeah, so it's just a bit difficult to find that out and how they were planning. And I think they were trying to be covert about this whole operation. And then, of course, you don't want to get too close to St. Petersburg, even though you could technically go, along the coast and go to Russia and then go over the, up and over the Finnish border that way. But that's like fucking long. So a main objector to this theory, like theory number one, was that the main objector is Seppo Zetterberg, or Zetterberg. Doesn't sound like a Swedish name, but yeah. So I'll just say Berg. He started looking at the curious death of Jüri Vilms in the 1980s, and this was after Estonia's national archives were opened up to researchers. So a few things that were odd or like stuck out to him as odd about Jüri's death was that there was an odd execution photograph which showed the execution or the so-called execution of Jüri. And it looked like the photo had been unskillfully manipulated. And Zetterberg claims it looks like Jüri's head was transposed onto another person who was standing in front of a gun. So basically, like really, really shitty Photoshop of the day.
Mm-hmm. Is this photo available somewhere?
I think I put it in the our folder, so it should be posted on Instagram after this. Yeah.
Okay.
Moreover, the executioner in the photo doesn't even appear to be dressed in German uniforms, but rather Finnish uniforms. So this would also be okay if it is indeed a Finnish person executing Jüri Vilms. Like, holy shit, that's a huge like fuck. Like Finland really fucked up on that one. But if it's like all false, then yeah, what is actually this photo and why is it here? This caused Zetterberg to look a bit more into the case, and where it seems that the theories don't differ is like Juri's compatriots, so Johan Cook, Arnold Jürgens, Johannes Paistik, set out for Finland on March 24th of 1918, where they would make their way to the west coast of Finland via ice. Yeah, so via ice, but it doesn't say like boat ice or walking ice, but anyway, so they could make it to
Mm-hmm.
Sweden. But then they just disappeared. So everyone's like, okay, March 24th was the day they set out, and then they just disappeared from there. But during this time, like, of course, since Jüri was of politically high standing, Estonia wanted answers, right? Like, what the fuck happened to our deputy prime minister? So the civil war, of course, was happening in Finland at the same time, and it was difficult to investigate the case. But in 1920, after the Finnish Civil War, 3 Estonian men proposed that to the Estonian state, hey, you can just like, pay us to do the investigation, pay us a fuck ton of money, because apparently they paid them like extortionist prices to figure out what happened to Jüri.
Wow.
'Cause, yeah. So, I mean, there was a vital need for the research, but I mean, check their backgrounds a bit more, I would say, before, allowing just random people like, yeah, we know what happened to him, or figure out what happened to him. But yeah. So Zetterberg thinks that the story of the sugar factory massacre was easily believed by the Estonians because it answered the riddle of what happened to the deputy prime minister, and it fueled this anti-German sentiment for which,
Mm-hmm.
Estonians at this time, it was like, well, yeah, no shit, of course it was the Germans. Yes, it wasn't the Finnish people, but it happened in Finland. He was going there, he was on his duty, like he was, doing it for Estonia. And then the Germans, of course, they were the ones who killed him. So it was an easy pill to swallow. And then, of course, this
Mm-hmm.
also martyred Jüri Vilms. So,
Yeah.
so this Zetterberg basically doesn't believe that this is kind of what happened at all, but he doesn't really have any other theories, basically, as far as I could read in the Yle article. So that's kind of it, like for that. But so, what do you guys think happened? Like, how do you think?
So wait, so this whole like mass execution like story was
Mm,
just then likely made up by these 3
yes,
people
yes,
because this was
possibly.
like, okay, well, there was a mass execution, so it's kind of convenient. Let's say that Yuri was also there and the other guys.
Yes, yes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
So the first and the second theory are like very similar in this sense because the
yeah,
end was
basically.
basically the same. And then the
Yeah.
third
Yeah,
theory that we have is that they just drowned
yes,
or it was an accident.
yeah,
I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I kind of feel it's the third one that they were just unlucky.
I mean, could be, yeah.
I mean,
But
they were
that's so
unlucky
like,
anyway, but
yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah,
So
there is the photo. It is in the drive.
yeah,
Yeah,
I found
it's
this picture
Virallinen
of this.
ampumiskuva.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it does look a bit like kind of funny. Like it looks a bit lighter around his head,
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
we should put it to
mhm.
this modern, like, deep fake, like the machines that can tell, like that the computer can tell whether it's fake or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also,
Put
Is
like, if
there
they
like
say he
a
was a bit, if he was taller, like the guy standing next to him, it's almost the exact same height via the
true?
shoulders. So it's
That's very
like,
true.
yeah.
It
So
doesn't
the
look
more
very
I look
tall
at
in
it,
this picture. Mhm.
no, no. And if he was of considerable height, I don't know what that was. Like maybe it would be, 6 foot or something. Yeah,
I mean,
that's,
also like it's such an old blurry photo that even if it wasn't manipulated, I don't know if you can tell if it's him or not. Can be someone who
yeah,
looks similar.
yeah,
So
yep.
Do you know who these three people are who said that, like, give us a lot of money and then we can tell you what happened to him? Like, what is their
No,
background? Like, who are they?
no, I don't. But maybe
Mm-hmm.
if I read the Jüri Vilmsin Kuolema, there's a book about this from 1997.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I could have probably, maybe there was something in there, but I didn't have the time to get the book. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I was just kind of wondering, like, what was their motivation? Like, obviously to get the money, but like,
just money. I
where
think
did
it
they
was
come
just
from?
money.
Who are they?
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm. It's also
yeah.
just like very convenient that there's apparently a picture of this execution where the only
Right.
face that you can
Yes.
see is
Yes.
Yuri, like the
Yes.
only
Yes.
one.
Yeah. And then of course if they knew that he was Estonian guy, obviously not a red, why would they have
Mhm.
yeah, I just yeah, questionable all around.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't really have any
It's
strong opinions about what happened to him, but yeah, it's just sad all
yeah,
around
it's
because I
very
mean
hard
the
to
guy was
speculate.
yeah, I just feel it's a bit sad of a story. I mean the guy was definitely uh, a great force within the Estonian political system and could have done probably a lot of good. And especially, after the independence and stuff of Estonia. And then, then of course they were under Russian rule, even like with the communist party after that. So it's kind of like what would have happened if they didn't like if he wasn't killed or if he didn't die, it's just always interesting to kind of speculate about what would have happened if this would have caused
Yeah,
anything different in history.
I need to Google if this photo is like if I can find it in like better resolution or
Mm,
something. But I guess not. I guess this is the only thing that you can find in this book.
I guess that's kind of it then.
Yeah, I don't
Ended up,
know. Like,
Rest in peace, Yuri.
yeah, rest in peace, man.
oh yeah, that's sad, and it's kind of annoying that there's no more like kind of leads or anything about this. Because I mean, sure, it seems likely that okay, like this is not what happened to him, but then everything else is just like almost impossible to confirm
Yeah, I
or
mean
It's
they
investigate.
should
hard.
at least they should at least test the bodies, like all of the bodies, to see if it's any of those people that were with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And then if it's not, then we know, okay, they died some other way if they're not in the mass grave. If like no none of like the four of them or five of them are in the grave, then yeah, four of them. If none of the four of them are in the grave, then it's chances
And
are then that's not the actual story.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
anyway, like, did you say like there's still 20 people that
yes. Yeah.
even now we don't know who
Yeah.
they are? It would
Exactly. We should
feel
test those
somehow
people as well.
nice that
Yeah.
we would take DNA from them all, have it in
Yes.
somewhere, and then like even if actively not searching for their relatives, that it could come up somewhere. Like, hey, by the way, this was actually your
Yeah.
great grandma
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, no, I think that's also good for like peace in the family too, because I mean there's so many stories where, their great grandfather or whatever was sent off to basically the gulags and never seen again, or, just you never saw your family again during this time because yeah, they were killed and buried in a mass grave.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like this whole Civil War history is very
Yeah.
interesting. Like
Yeah.
how my generation is probably the generation who has very vague understanding, like what happened and whether our
Mm,
family was white or red. But I
mm,
think our parents still might have some, like they've heard because it was kind of their grandparents' time,
yes. Yeah.
so they probably have some kind of at least gut knowledge which
Yeah.
side their grandparents were.
Yeah. Yeah, I tried asking Auntie, do you remember what your family it was, red or white? He's like, I don't remember like what it is, but yeah. Yeah. So,
Based on the area, I would say red.
Oh,
Just in
yeah, oh,
case.
yeah, true.
No.
Yeah. True. Yeah.
Well, I know
I
my
mean, we have a Lenin.
grandmother's parents were white Russians,
Oh.
so definitely not red. They literally escaped the Bolsheviks from Russia, so I'm pretty sure they weren't like, but let's join the red in Finland.
Wait, do you mean that they were Belarusian
No, but
or like
like
white, as in
the
white
so-called
Russian,
white
but they were
Russians,
white?
the anti-Bolshevik Russians who
Ah, okay, because like yeah, because
they would have been
we
killed by the Bolsheviks if they have
yeah
stayed in Russia.
because I was just thinking like Volkovenaya, and then
No,
like
not
people.
Belarus.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that's what Belarus or actual white Russians or yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but I think it's great that you brought this story, and I think maybe we could try to look for more of these. That like you said that but that the whole era was so tumultuous and everything, that so many things happened that it kind of the focus is not really put on these kind of individual stories or like I
Yeah.
don't know, like murders or tragedies or whatever. So yeah, I think it's very interesting to dive a bit more into these.
Yeah, I like this era. I mean, I go to this there's this museum also in Hämeenlinna, the like military museum. It's massive, like so many floors, and there's like multiple floors just based off of this particular war, and it's lots of photos and everything. It's just too much information to take in. It's massive amount of historical stuff.
It's
Yeah.
not the one in the like Linna in the castle, but next to it, or
Yeah, it's the one next to it. Yeah.
okay, I haven't been to that one yet. Yeah,
Yeah. I think Betty would like it.
probably.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he would have had a lot more to comment on, like regarding the history of the time than I did.
Well, maybe he can listen to this angrily and just like, what the fuck? She didn't cover
You
this as
missed
well.
that important point. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm
I
sure.
missed a
I'm
lot.
sure.
I missed a lot, I'm sure. Hard to condense everything. But yeah. Maybe I'll have another episode about this era so soon. But
And I mean, of course, this is not I don't know, a historical podcast, or like it's not necessarily
but if there
focused.
are any, I need more suggestions. I'm listening to this one, the Butterfly King. Oh, it's great. It's super great. King
It's a
Boris the
podcast.
Third. It's basically and how he was killed or possibly killed. They think he was murdered. King Boris the Third is the
Yeah.
Butterfly King. Watch it.
You,
It's great. Bulgaria. King Boris the Third of Bulgaria. Listen to the Butterfly King on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Not that they need help because apparently they're a smashing hit and really good investigative journalism and whatnot. But
oh, nice.
yes,
I need
King
to look into
Boris the
this.
Third. Yeah.
Okay,
So I
thank
guess
you.
that's
This was very interesting.
yeah.
And
Thank you.
I think next time it's my turn to bring something, and I'm probably going to, well, it's going to be a Hungarian case again, and from the mid 20th century. And yeah, I mean, I'm still like debating if it's going to be this one or not, but probably yes. And I can tell you that it's pretty horrible. So not too
Oh,
lighthearted
great.
next time.
Great. We need more animal facts then after yours. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, not looking forward to it then,
Mm.
but
Yeah.
kind of.
But yeah. I mean,
It's like a train wreck. You
isn't
can't
it
look away.
always?
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. Yeah, like and subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast, and you can leave comments on our Instagram at Translation Murder Podcast, and send us an email at translationmurderpodcast@gmail.com, and yeah, get in touch with us. You can tell us what we're doing right or wrong, or if you really, really hate news tangent episodes, let us know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Also, if you
So
love them.
yeah, especially if you love them. But yeah, so thank you again. Hei parolla.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.